Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking, and make sure your flashlight is loaded and your doors are closed, because this week I'm looking at Five Nights at Freddy's 4. Sometimes with the subtitle The Final Chapter, the fourth installment in the Five Nights series released on July 23rd, 2015. Originally slated to release on Halloween of 2015, Scott decided to release it in July because he had the same relationship with release dates that politicians have with honesty. 9 times out of 10 is likely a lie. All of the main teasers for this game featured the phrase, "Was it me?" which led many to believe this game would answer one of the biggest questions in the series: who was responsible for the bite of 87? And, well, we'll just get there when we get there. FNaF 4 was created after the poor reaction to the jump scares of FNaF 3, so this game was built with the sole intention of being the scariest game in the franchise to date. Did this game deliver on its promise, or had the fanbase become too desensitized to Chucky's screams and the Crunch's Party Crime Band to feel anything? We'll answer that question as we give it everything we've got. The game begins with a reminder that there is a party in 5 days. I wouldn't go if I were you. Kids' parties are the worst. You are then talked at by your best friend, this plush of Golden Freddy. Golden Freddy is also known as Fredbear if you care. Hey, that rhymed. I'm a poet and I didn't even know I had the capacity to place 2 words with similar vocalizations within the same sentence to create a feeling of somewhat stimulating repetition. Golden Fred plush Bear Fred Goldbear tells us that we've been locked in our room again, and we're clearly taking it very well. After that, the first night starts and it's immediately obvious that this is not the same room we were just in, and that we'd be much safer if it were, because there's a new batch of freakazoids trying to bite off our head. Let's meet these party crashers, shall we? Literally a product of Scott Cawthon's nightmares, with the biggest underbite since James William Bottomtooth Nightmare Bonnie! The animatronic that looks like she's wearing yellow shorts and orange boots, and now you'll never be able to see anything else. Also, her cupcake can now kill you, which is a great PSA to not overindulge in unhealthy foods like cheap restaurant pizza. Nightmare Chica! The Tom Cruise in your closet, and it's up to you to force him to stay in the closet, which really makes you a terrible ally, but the only alternative is for him to murder you, so really don't have a choice. Also, look at that fucking tongue! Nightmare Foxy! The red light, green light enthusiast, and that one friend that forces you to play their shitty-ass games despite the fact that you've made it well known how shit their shitty-ass games are. Plush Trap! And the character you'll never fucking see in this game if you're any good, because you'll only see his little children or Starro-like extensions on your bed, which is a whole nother issue. Nightmare Freddy! This time around, there's no camera system. To keep your head attached to your body, you'll have to run back and forth between the 2 doors and to listen. If you hear the sounds of breathing, I don't know how animatronics breathe, then you close the door until they leave. If you hear nothing, you just flash your light and leave. In later nights, Foxy will be heard running around outside until he manages to get into your closet. There, you'll have to close the closet door on him until he turns into a cute little plush because merch. During all this, you'll also have to keep an eye on your bed behind you and clear off all the little Freddys before they summon the big bear. That's the formula you have to follow for the first 4 nights, with more mini-games in between the nights. Like being scared by a dude in a Foxy mask in your own house, being scared by a dude in a Fredbear costume at a restaurant, walking home from the restaurant you were in only to be scared by the same dude in a Foxy mask in your own room this time, and being locked in a service closet. What a great childhood. Also in between these nights, you'll play fun with Plush Trap, and if you win, you skip the first 2 hours of the night. It doesn't carry over if you die though, so make the most of it. This game throws you into the thick of things right away. There's no phone call, and no night to get you used to the controls. It really adds to the game's atmosphere and makes you feel more like the kid you're playing as. You have only the slightest idea what you're doing, but you know you have to do it to survive the nightmares. Now, if you're one of the 2 people who care about spoilers for a 6-year-old indie horror game, then skip to here, because things get freaky on night 5, and not in a kinky way. Well, maybe in a kinky way. Depends on what you're into. I don't judge. On night 5, you aren't #under siege from Freddy, Bonnie, Foxy, and Chica anymore. They've all taken a back seat for Winnie the Crack Addict, right up there with Springtrap. Is one of my favorite animatronics across all of these games, and it was a real missed opportunity not naming him Nightbear or Fredmare. Nightmare Fredbear! He can appear in both doorways, the closet, and the bed, so he's a lot more dangerous, and the night is a lot more chaotic. Conquering the Pieces Maker rewards you with the final minigame scene, where your Foxy masked relative and his equally as mentally deficient friends decide to toss you into Fredbear's mouth, which clamps down on your head. Now, rightly, many assumed this was the bite of 87. We had heard so much about it, but as I said last time, because Five Nights at Freddy's has a relationship with Symbol like Jeffrey Epstein and adult women. This is actually a separate incident known as the bite of 83, because of course it is. If you'll recall, in the first game, the phone guy said,
"It's amazing that the human body can live without the frontal lobe."
But as implied by the sound of a flat line that plays during the scene after night 6, the kid doesn't survive. Likely, the whole game's events were taking place within the kid's mind as he slowly died in the hospital. Fun stuff! Back to night 6 for a second. This night mixes the two different gameplay styles. From 12 to 4, you'll be dealing with the core 4, but from 4 to 6, Fredbear steps in and you have to deal with him. Completing that grants you death, but even death can't stop these games from having a 7th night. Just like night 6, it merges the two styles. However, Jump Scare the Murder Bear is replaced with Nightmare Fredbear in full business mode, who revels in the pain and suffering he brings upon you, even though he has the most anticlimactic jump scare ever!
Is that Nightmare? Is that true Nightmare?
He acts just like Nightmare Fredbear, so it's nothing new. Completing Nightmare mode rewards you with MatPat's greatest enemy, this locked box. There's no way to open the box, and the contents have never been revealed. So really, this screen serves no purpose. This was also the first FNaF game to have DLC, as a special Halloween DLC was released in, well, October. It replaces Nightmare Bonnie and Nightmare Chica with Jacko Bonnie and Jacko Chica respectively. Nightmare Foxy is substituted with Nightmare Mangle, Nightmare is substituted with Nightmarion, and Plushtrap is replaced with Nightmare Balloon Boy. The only change to actual gameplay is that Mangle's radio static plays while she's in the closet, which is a supremely dick move considering the main sense you use in this game is hearing. I know I joked about how much of a lie the title Five Nights at Freddy's is, but Five Nights at Freddy's 4, the final chapter, is the biggest lie I've ever heard. There aren't 5 nights, you aren't in any kind of Freddy Fazbear location, kinda, and it obviously wasn't the final chapter. However, this game is definitely the scariest since the original, as it forces you to get inches from these gigantic mouths, and you have to trust your ears more than your eyes. I wish Scott found some way to include phone calls or other spoken dialogue, because its absence makes this game feel kind of empty, as all of the plot is conveyed in vague minigames and even vaguer text. The house, despite not being structured like any actual house, is a unique and interesting setting and helps immensely with making this game stand out amongst the others. 6 out of 10. While we may not be at the final chapter of this twisted novel, there will be a short break before we open the next closet in this franchise and dissect what our eyes land on, so next time, we'll be looking at the far from elementary origins of the world's greatest attorney. I hope there's no objections, and I hope to see you there.